We're going back to this book, Marie Forleo's Everything is Figureoutable. Last time we were talking about this book, Marie Forleo's Everything is Figureoutable, we were in a section talking about perfection. For this video, I'm going to focus on the end of this chapter 8, which is a section on perfectionism. And I know a lot of us have different ways that we deal with perfectionism, but I think everyone has a little bit of perfectionism in one or more areas of their lives. In my case, my perfectionism shows up in trying to spend too much time on something my daughter calls sunk costs. While I've invested a whole bunch of time on a project, and partway through the project I realize that it's probably not going to work out the way that I want it to, but I keep investing in it because I've already sunk so much time and energy into the project that I just can't stop. That's one way that we manage our perfectionism, or don't manage it actually. And one other way is that you are trying so hard, or you have such a strong desire for something to be absolutely right that you get paralyzed. You can't make any moves forward. And that happens to me sometimes too, where you have an idea in mind for how something should look or work out, and you just don't think that you're the one to be able to do it, and so you get stuck. So instead of getting stuck here, I'm going to carry on and talk about progress versus perfection. And that's one of the main messages that Marie Forleo puts forward throughout the book. In the case of Marie Forleo, she talks about how she would get stuck and feel like she wasn't good enough to do the things that she wanted to do. Of course, not being good enough is a human failing. We all think that we're not good enough to do X, Y, and Z. And that's normal. If you feel like you're not good enough, guess what? You're a human being. Not good enough to do the job that you're doing, not good enough to be in the love relationship you're in, not good enough to pursue the dreams that you have. And that all is totally human. We all feel that way. And what Marie recommends is that we push forward to keep becoming better without spending too much time worrying about whether or not we reach the pinnacle of success. She gives some examples in the book, and I'm going to read some of those. The perfection thought is, I have only one shot at this. If I fail, lose, get rejected, it means I suck and I should quit. The progress idea is, I'll take as many shots as I can, and I'll learn from every attempt. I'll get stronger and better. Other thoughts of perfection include, it's either all or nothing. If I can't get everything I want now, what's the point? And progress would say, I'll start small and simple now, then iterate and evolve over time. Perfection says, failure is unacceptable. Progress says, failure is inevitable. My attempt may fail, but I'm not a failure. Perfection says, I always fail at everything. This will crush me. Progress says, failure isn't permanent or personal. There are several more examples of perfection versus progress thinking in the book, and you can look it up on pages 187 and 188 of Everything is Figureoutable if you're curious to know more. One of the things that she does notice, though, is there's a gap between ambition and ability, and she calls this mind the gap. Mind the gap between your ambition and your ability. Take anyone who is exceptional at what they do. In fact, you might call them a genius in their field. And you will find examples of people who actually started somewhere where they didn't know anything. No baby is born knowing the theory of relativity. You have ambition. You want to get somewhere. You want to create something, but you don't have the skills yet to create the thing that you have in mind. That's okay. You'll get the skills. Progress, not perfection. The first time you do anything is not going to be your best attempt. It's like that story I told a couple of videos back about a friend of mine who wanted to water ski, and the first time he went out, he couldn't get up, he fell over immediately, and he immediately quit. Carol Dweck would call that a fixed mindset. And in fact, Marie Forleo mentions Carol Dweck and her book, Mindset. This book probably changed a lot of my thinking in terms of my teaching. After reading that book, I started handing it out to all the parents whose kids were stuck in getting A's and not necessarily exploring the world around them. And that is a kind of perfectionism. I know that I can get an A doing this particular kind of work, and I don't want to push myself beyond that because my A might be in jeopardy if I think differently than how the teacher is asking me to think. And that is a kind of perfectionism that can be just as paralyzing as any other kind of perfectionism. So let's look at a fixed versus a growth mindset and see what that has to do with the difference between perfection and progress. A fixed mindset says you believe that talent without the application of effort creates success. You're either born with it or you're not, and there's nothing you can do to change it. When in a fixed mindset, you'll avoid challenges, resist criticism, and perform for approval. This set of beliefs and the behaviors that flow from it are destructive. When I was teaching, we used to talk about extrinsic motivators versus intrinsic motivators. Extrinsic motivators are things like grades, test scores, or even bribes for better performance. And that's an unworkable way to manage people's performance. It's not really a kind of motivation that you can sustain because you have to keep raising the stakes and raising the stakes. As opposed to intrinsic motivators, which is the motivation that from the inside of a person makes them want to continue. That would be things like curiosity and the joy of doing a thing. In Carol Dweck's book, Mindset, she says a growth mindset is when you believe that your most basic abilities, like talent and intelligence, can be improved through effort, perseverance, and experience. In this mindset, whatever intelligence and abilities you're born with are just the start. People in a growth mindset crave challenges, welcome constructive criticism, view setbacks as learning opportunities, and develop a passion for hard work and a hunger for growth. They know that getting better is a process, one that requires the right attitude and dedication over time. Have you ever known someone who couldn't take criticism? That person is probably stuck in a fixed mindset. And that's the kind of thing where you say, what if you tried it this way? And they were like, no, there's only one way to do anything. I got distracted by my hair. It's too bad that I can see myself on here. If you've met someone who's hungry for the critique, who wants your input, who is constantly striving and okay with failures, that person is in a growth mindset. It means that they are constantly evolving, constantly growing, constantly becoming, and that person will see greater change over a lifetime than almost any other kind of person because they're open to those changes caused by the growth of learning. What Marie Forleo says is, whatever your dream is, get obsessed with making simple daily progress. That's it. Meaningful progress doesn't feel particularly exciting. Most days, it feels like work. You show up, grind it out, sometimes joyfully, sometimes not, and repeat. I think about my growing on this YouTube channel, and I'm learning how to read statistics. I'm learning how to edit a little bit better every time. And I just have to every day learn a little something new. And over time, I will grow. And I look back at some of the earliest videos, and I haven't been doing it for very long, and I can see a lot of growth because I started out knowing just about nothing. And it shows in my videos. So hopefully in another year or so, I can look back and say, oh, okay, look how much I've grown since, say, this video you're watching right now. So stick with me and we'll grow together, which is really one of the best things that you can do. You can grow on your own, but it's even better to grow with a group. So make progress. If you are wanting to work out, find a group to work out with. Make a little bit of progress every day. Hold each other accountable. If you're wanting to learn how to sing, find somebody who will sing with you. Find a choir. Find a vocal coach. The time will come. You'll grow your voice. It will become better and stronger. And that goes for anything you pursue. Anything you pursue with a growth mindset, you're going to improve. So don't worry about being perfect. Worry about making progress. Enjoy the moment. Enjoy learning. Even enjoy the failures. It's absolutely possible to enjoy a failure. So go out there, fail with lots of enthusiasm and energy, and know that in the failure you will learn. No learning is ever more profound than the learning we get from our failures. So don't worry about whether or not you look bad. Just go out there and keep at it. What you're going to look like is someone that people want to hang out with because you give everybody permission to try when you're out there making progress. There's a What I Really Want 7-day writing challenge in chapter 6 of the book. I haven't done it yet, but I will, and I'll report back to you. In the meantime, report back to me in the comments. Let me know what you think about all this, what your ideas are, what you're going to try, even though you know you can't do it perfectly yet. Let me know what kind of progress you're making, and definitely like the video if you like the video, and subscribe. The more people we have on this channel, the more people will join us, and it'll become a real force out there in the YouTube world for good. Let's get out there and make progress. Don't worry about perfection. You'll get better if you just keep at it. Thanks for watching, you guys. I really enjoy sharing these with you, and I look forward to having another video out in a couple of days, so I'll see you then. Bye. And this way, and they were like, no, there's only one way to do anything. Okay, sorry, I got distracted by my hair.